Hello, lovely listeners. Welcome back to Fluent English with Podcast. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Alan.
Today we have a fantastic lineup of words to enrich your English vocabulary.
Absolutely, we've got some real gems lined up for you today. Accommodate, acquire, analyze, anticipate, approach, capable, and challenge.
But before we dive into those, let's start with our signature joke segment. Alan, got any jokes up your sleeve today?
Oh, Sophie, you know I always do. All right, here we go. Why don't scientists trust atoms?
Why?
Because they make up everything. Get it? They make up everything?
Oh, Alan, that's a classic. All right, let's get down to business. Our first word today is accommodate.
Right, Sophie. So to accommodate means to provide lodging or space for someone or something. It's like making room for someone or something.
Exactly. And some synonyms for accommodate could be house, fit in, or adjust.
Now, let's break it down with some simple examples for our English learners out there.
Imagine you have friends coming over. You want to accommodate them, so you make sure there are enough chairs for everyone to sit comfortably.
Or maybe you're traveling and need a place to stay. You might book a hotel room to accommodate yourself.
And don't forget about accommodating dietary preferences. If someone doesn't eat meat, you might accommodate them by cooking a vegetarian meal.
Lastly, let's say you're rearranging furniture in your room. You might need to move things around to accommodate a new desk.
Now, let's hear a dialogue where accommodate is used.
Hi, I have a group of friends coming over for dinner tonight. Can we accommodate them at your place?
Of course. I'll make sure we have enough food and seating for everyone.
Thanks so much. You're always so accommodating.
That was a nice use of the word accommodate in a social setting.
Definitely. It's all about making people feel welcome and comfortable.
Indeed. All right, on to our next word. Acquire.
Acquire means to gain possession of something. It's like getting something or obtaining it.
Some synonyms for acquire could be obtain, get, or procure.
Now, let's give some examples that our English learners can easily understand.
Picture this. You go to the store to acquire groceries for the week. You pick out fruits, vegetables, and other items you need.
Or perhaps you're learning a new skill, like playing the guitar. You might need to acquire a guitar first before you can start practicing.
And think about buying a new book. When you purchase it, you acquire knowledge from reading it.
Lastly, if you're collecting stamps, each time you get a new stamp, you acquire it for your collection.
Now let's listen to a conversation where acquire is used.
How did you acquire such an extensive coin collection?
I started collecting when I was young, and over the years I've acquired coins from all over the world.
That's impressive. I'd love to start collecting coins too.
Acquiring collections can be a fun hobby, and it's a great way to learn about different cultures.
Absolutely. And it's always exciting to see what new items you can acquire for your collection. Now, let's jump right back into our vocabulary journey. Our next word is analyze.
Analyze means to examine something closely and carefully to understand it better. It's like breaking something down to understand its parts.
Some synonyms for analyze could be examine, study, or investigate.
Now, let's provide some simple examples for our listeners.
Imagine you're studying a painting in an art class. You might analyze the colors, brushstrokes, and overall composition to understand the artist's technique.
Or perhaps you're reading a book for school. You might need to analyze the characters, plot, and themes to write a paper about it.
And think about a scientist analyzing data from an experiment to draw conclusions.
Lastly, let's say you're watching a soccer game. The coach might analyze the opponent's strategy to come up with a game plan.
Now, let's listen to a conversation where analyze is used.
How did you analyze the results of the experiment?
I looked at the data closely and compared it to previous findings to draw conclusions.
That makes sense. It's important to analyze the data thoroughly before making any conclusions.
Analyzing information is a crucial skill in many aspects of life, whether it's for academics, work, or even hobbies.
Absolutely, Sophie. And by practicing how to analyze things, you can improve your critical thinking skills too.
All right, folks, we're halfway through our list of words for today. We hope you're enjoying our exploration of English vocabulary.
Our next word on the list is anticipate.
Right. To anticipate means to expect or foresee something happening. It's like predicting what will happen in the future based on clues or intuition.
Some synonyms for anticipate could be expect, foresee, or predict.
Now, let's break it down with some simple examples.
Imagine you're waiting for your friend to arrive at your house. You might anticipate their arrival by looking out the window for their car.
Or perhaps you're studying for a test. You might anticipate the questions that will be asked based on what you've learned.
And think about planning a surprise party for a friend. You have to anticipate their reaction when they walk into the room.
Lastly, let's say you're going on a hike. You might anticipate the weather by checking the forecast before you leave.
Now, let's listen to a conversation where anticipate is used.
Are you anticipating any challenges with the project deadline?
Yes, I anticipate that we might need to work extra hours to meet the deadline.
I see. Let's plan accordingly to make sure we're prepared for any obstacles.
Anticipating challenges and planning ahead can help us overcome obstacles more effectively.
Absolutely. It's all about being proactive and thinking ahead. All right, on to our next word, approach.
Approach means to come near or closer to something or someone. It's like moving towards a destination or goal.
Some synonyms for approach could be come near, move toward, or advance.
Now, let's provide some easy-to-understand examples.
Imagine you're walking to school. As you approach the building, you can see your friends waiting for you.
Or perhaps you're driving to a destination. As you approach a traffic light, you slow down and prepare to stop.
And think about meeting new people. You might approach someone you don't know and introduce yourself.
Lastly, let's say you're solving a problem. You might approach it by breaking it down into smaller steps.
Now let's listen to a conversation where approach is used.
How should we approach this situation?
I think we should gather more information before making any decisions.
That sounds like a sensible approach. Let's do some research first.
Taking the right approach can make a big difference in how we handle different situations.
Absolutely. It's important to consider our options and choose the best approach for each scenario.
That's right. Well, we've covered some fantastic words so far, and we're not stopping yet. Our next word is capable.
Capable means having the ability or skill to do something. It's like being able to accomplish a task or handle a situation.
Some synonyms for capable could be competent, able, or skilled.
Now, let's break it down with some easy examples.
Imagine you're learning to ride a bike. Once you learn, you become capable of riding it without help.
Or perhaps you're cooking a meal. If you follow the recipe correctly, you'll be capable of making a delicious dish.
And think about taking care of a pet. You need to be capable of feeding them, taking them for walks, and giving them love and attention.
Lastly, let's say you're working on a group project. Each member needs to be capable of contributing their skills and knowledge.
Now, let's listen to a conversation where capable is used.
Do you think Sarah is capable of handling the project on her own?
Absolutely. She's shown that she's capable of managing similar projects in the past.
That's reassuring. I trust her to get the job done.
Being capable means having the confidence and skills to tackle challenges and achieve goals.
Definitely, and when we believe in ourselves and our abilities, we can accomplish amazing things.
All right, folks, we're almost at the end of our list. But don't go anywhere, because we've got one more word to explore.
That's right. And we've got one more word left to delve into. Challenge.
Challenge refers to a task or situation that tests someone's abilities or skills. It's like facing a difficulty or obstacle that requires effort to overcome.
Some synonyms for challenge could be difficulty, obstacle, or test.
Now, let's break it down with some simple examples.
Imagine you're learning a new language. It can be challenging to memorize vocabulary and master pronunciation.
Or perhaps you're training for a marathon. Running 26.2 miles is a challenging task that requires dedication and endurance.
And think about solving a puzzle. It can be challenging to figure out the solution, but it feels rewarding when you finally solve it.
Lastly, let's say you're starting a new job. Learning the ropes and adapting to a new environment can be challenging at first.
Now let's listen to a conversation where challenge is used.
How do you plan to tackle the challenge of learning to play the piano?
I'll break it down into smaller goals and practice regularly to improve my skills.
That sounds like a good approach. Remember, it's okay to face challenges along the way. It's all part of the learning process.
Facing challenges head-on can help us grow and develop new skills.
Absolutely, and when we overcome challenges, we become stronger and more resilient individuals.
Well, folks, that wraps up today's episode of Fluent English with Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed expanding your vocabulary with us.
And remember, don't be afraid to challenge yourself and push beyond your comfort zone.
That's right. Until next time, keep practicing your English and never stop learning.
Goodbye, everyone.
Take care.